Hello all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. And today we have part 2 of the Generations Festival, as well as the much awaited arrival of the guilds feature in the game. We will be talking about guilds much more in the very near future. However, today we're going to focus more so on the event quests that are now available, as well as the summoning banner and awards. And there are quite a few, starting with this here 14-day login event. We do also have a powerful opponent login event, hint hint from what we're going to be talking about very soon. But this one right here is a beefy one. We do have 50 nature stones there, 100 there, and 100 there, adding up to 250. We have 3 of the regular summoning tickets, and then we have 5 Peace Chaos tickets right there, and 10 Peace Chaos tickets right there. So, a lot of very good rewards. We also have this currency. Remember this, we're going to get to this very soon. We can get 40 of this Generations Festival currency from this login event. So, I'm just going to claim my next little item here. Guilds are unlocked. Very exciting. And now let us talk about what we have going on for today. First of all, we're going to take a look at the legacy of the Fifth Nation event here. That is right, we have got some very popular pirates back available for us today. And with pirates also comes some pretty cool loot. First of all, we do have clearing the legacy of the Fifth Nation event challenges. This can actually get you up to 6 powerful opponent tickets completely free to play. Always nice there. This one right here is win any activity battles with pirate faction heroes on the team. Your usual stuff like your pirate domains, your arts expeditions, your elemental quests for the materials, all that good stuff. Once you complete that, that will get you a 7th powerful opponent ticket here. We do have winning battles with pirate faction heroes. Very simple, very easy. You'll just kind of keep doing that. Just use lots of pirates. And then winning any battles with Fifth Nation faction heroes specifically. Those characters are all from the Kyoshi timeline. Just kind of keep that in mind there. That will get you an 8th powerful opponent ticket, if I am remembering correctly. That's just some battles there. And then, of course, the usual kind of upgrading and ascending. We have upgrading pirate faction heroes, ascending them, and then same here, upgrading Fifth Nation faction heroes and ascending them as well. Now, I will say, I'm not sure how they're quite handling it if you've already got them all cranked up, because we don't actually have any new heroes per se. Not sure how they're handling that one. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but looking past that for now. Inflicting bleed on enemies will get you a 9th powerful opponent ticket, and inflicting the water element on your enemies will get you a 10th powerful opponent ticket. Very exciting there. And then just some extra stuff for spending powerful opponent tickets if you do any summoning. And then earning food and earning relic brushes. You will do all of this just as you play the game. So most of these are honestly very simple. Like I said, the only one I'm raising an eyebrow at are these upgrade quests, because none of them are technically new, which gives me pause a little bit. Just not sure about that one, but hopefully that will be a-okay. Next, we do have the Playing with Fire event. Now, this seems to be referencing a good chunk of Zuko's backstory involving his childhood with Azula and Ty Lee and May. The reason I say that is, of course, the dangerous game relic here, which is the apple that's on fire. 50% chance to remove 1 negative effect from the caster when they attack. Remove 1 buff from the enemy when a debuff is successfully removed. And that is for Fire Nation allies. Basically just something to cleanse yourself. Nice little helpful thing if you don't have other options. Some characters can already do that on their own. Kind of depends on what relics you already have and what characters you have. But that is an option. This seems to very much be based on getting materials and just kind of doing battles in the map. We do have earning the Scorched uniform from the Shengguan battle. There's only one battle, if I'm remembering correctly. Basically, it's Fire Nation characters fighting a few waves of Earthbenders, so you'll do that, you'll get those materials. Next, we do have getting Umashu vouchers. This one is the timed waypoints that you do get in Umashu. You can get basically 4 of these a day, technically 6 if you were really on top of it. I can't be bothered to go for that 3rd round because usually I'm asleep. So usually you'll probably get 4 a day. Next over here we do have earned timeline tokens. As long as you're doing your adventure battles, or excuse me, your adventure paths and some timed nodes in Rise of Kyoshi, you will get those tokens, no problem. And then some of these are much more general, clearing resource waypoints, clearing timed waypoints, and clearing battle waypoints. The battle ones might take you a little bit longer, but hey, if you've been putting off grinding up some skill masteries, kind of like I have, now is as good a time as any to get caught up on it. Once you complete all that, you will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the apples. Now, once you've done that, what else do you get? Well, you get this item right here, Fire Lord's Crown, an event currency item. What do you do with that particular event currency item? They are letting you actually select a free character, a free 5-star character for every 100. Pretty much anybody that is available right now who is not a Peace Chaos hero from the Aang timeline. So anybody that's kind of like already in the primary event banner, you have Katara, Toph, Zhao, Gyatso, Iroh, Sokka, Zhang, Zuko, Sokka again, Avatar State Aang, Monkey, Paku, Zinfu, Zhang, and Boomy. And then you actually do have some 4-star options here if you wanted those for some reason. I wouldn't even bother with that. Now, you'll notice you get 60 from this event. Okay, that makes sense. But it's not quite enough for a 5-star. Well, that is okay, because in the 14-day login event, you do get an additional 40, meaning that you can get one 5-star of your choice completely free to play. An absolutely fantastic option here if you're trying to either get some copies, or maybe there's a character that you've wanted that you haven't gotten, or maybe you even just want a red coin. Maybe you just want an additional red coin there so that you can get something from the summon shop here or save up. We do still have the Tenacious Dagger there. That is an option that you could absolutely do that. Do whatever you want with your red coin. But you have that option to do whatever it is you would like. And I, for one, am thrilled to death about it. Getting a freebie, never a bad thing. Now, of course, we have got to talk about the current events going on. And we've got 2 new summoning events. We have Legacy of the Fifth Nation and Ancient Power. We're going to take a look at Legacy of the Fifth Nation first. This is a rerun banner for both Kiwok and good old Pirate Man, whose name I am not even going to try, as well as Kiwok's signature relic, Blade of Tegaka, and Pirate Man's signature relic, Call to Freedom. Now, just to give a brief overview of these characters, Kiwok can stun on her basic, and she also gets these mastery options that can give her some extra turns and increase her stun chances. She has Frozen Barrage, which can inflict the bleed effect. Just keep in mind there that you will need bleeds in order to complete one of the powerful ticket quests in the event missions there. So that can hit 3 times, can inflict bleed, and can even decrease some turn bar and give her an extra turn if she has Shadow Tide. What is Shadow Tide? Well, that is related to her Arctic Shadow passive. Basically, grants her a death save, will fully heal her as long as she doesn't have anything blocking it, and will give her some extra effects after either a couple turns or after she takes 5 hits of damage. Basically, she will dodge the next 5 hits, and that will make that effect removed, and she will be back in action. So a very cool character there. She is one of the older powerful opponent characters, but she is still getting a lot of use. I will point out that she is in fact an exile character, and exile characters along with outlaw characters got a nice glow up ever since Iroh and Zuko were released in their peace versions. Just something to kind of keep in mind there. I have seen her used to very great effect. And of course, we've got to talk about Pirate Man here. This dude is a tanky, water element inflicting juggernaut. He is extremely powerful. His Hailstorm hook here will deal resilient damage, meaning it scales on defense, and if he's in his covering state, he will deal water-bending damage to all enemies that ignores resistance, meaning he will always inflict that water debuff as long as there's no immunity, and that will scale on his defense as well. Speaking of that covering stance, Glacial Cover will grant him that covering stance for 1 turn, and instantly give him an extra turn, as well as some defensive utility for his team. Very, very helpful stuff here. And of course, gotta talk about his passive. It will remove all water elements from himself with a 35% chance to inflict the water element on attacking enemies whenever he receives a critical hit. So if he does happen to have some water elements, he can lose that and inflict it on the enemy. And then he has a 35% chance to counterattack if he has his covering stance. Very powerful when combined with his basic here, which can turn itself into an AoE. And then of course he does have some masteries, increasing his defense, increasing, or granting him some healing rather, and then actually giving him a chance to enter covering stance whenever he takes a critical hit. So very, very cool stuff there. These are both fantastic characters. Blade of Tagaka's a very good relic. Permanently increase speed or crit rate when you inflict a negative state on the enemy. And Call to Freedom is not bad either. Permanently reduce the advanced skill cooldown of the caster by 1 and increase turn bar by 10% when the caster is part of a combo. Blade of Tagaka is very good on Kiwok. Pirate Man, he usually goes for something more along the lines of Statue of Kyoshi to get some extra healing there. That's usually what you'll get there. You do have pretty low rates here. You've got the 0.25% on Kiwok, 0.25% on the Blade, and then 0.25% on Pirate Man. And then I'm seeing an additional 0.5% on the Blade. I'm not sure if that is an error. That is a little weird. If I'm doing some quick math here, I think we got 50% here. And then this makes no sense. That might be right, actually. That might be right. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. But then you've got the Call to Freedom here at 0.25 as well. Now, if I'm correct, this is going to work very similarly to the Flameo Bros, where once you hit Pity, you will get one of the characters, you will get one of the relics, and then you will get a coin. That coin you can actually spend here in the Legacy of the Fifth Nation shop. You can spend 2 to get either Pirate Man or Kiwok, or you can spend 1 to get one of the relics. That is up to you. Kind of gives you an extra option that's not based on luck as far as which character you would like to get. Now, we do have one more banner here, Ancient Power. This is a relic banner, strictly relics. If it works the same way as it did last time, which I have no reason to believe it does not, when you hit Pity, that being at 60, you will get 1 copy of each of these relics. And what relics do we have here? First of all, we have Blade of Rebellion, 35% chance to reduce the advanced skill cooldown by 1 when the caster attacks, and then gain invincibility for 1 turn when 3 allies are defeated in battle. So this is used on Swordsmaster characters. Basically, lets you use your Advanced More option and can grant you invincibility in the event that you become the last man standing. Next, we do have White Lotus Tile, used by White Lotus characters. Characters like Zhong Zhong, Iroh, and Boomy, as well as Paku, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Increase turn bar of all allies by 10% whenever the caster uses an advanced skill. double this increase for White Lotus allies. So basically, some turn bar increase, never a bad thing. Next, we do have Roku's Decree. 50% chance to gain an extra turn when the caster inflicts a negative stance or state on the enemy. This can happen once per turn, 3 times per battle. So if you're inflicting things like imbalance, if you're inflicting stun or knockdown or something like that, this gives you a chance at an extra turn that is usable by bending master characters like Peace Aang, Boomy, Bending Master Katara, and Paku, if I'm not mistaken. The King's Key here is used by Earthbenders. Remove all negative states and debuffs and increase max HP by 15% for 2 turns when the caster inflicts or the enemy is in a negative state when they attack. This has a 2-turn cooldown. Basically, a cleansing effect that also increases your max HP. If you are in a negative state or if the enemy is in a negative state. So kind of could go either way. I believe this was the signature relic of Boomy, but I could be mistaken on that one, but I think that's correct. And then the Flying Wolf Bat, this is a rebel relic here. Gain 20% increase to all stats for 2 turns when the caster attacks a marked target. This is very much meant to play with Jiang, if I'm correct here, where she marks the target and then can get those extra stats by attacking that target. So, I personally am not planning on summoning on this banner, and I'll tell you why. A couple of these have aged a little badly. White Lotus tile, it grants turn bar, which is never a bad thing. Let me just go ahead and say that. Never a bad thing. But we have no shortage of ways to increase turn bar, especially recently with the current juggernaut that is Warden's Tower. It did get a little nerfed, but it is still very effective. Roku's Decree, I have played around with it, and when it works great. But depending on your situation, that extra turn is only so useful, especially when you got to keep in mind you're fighting high resistance stats, and you're also fighting things like immunity, skill nullifier, that can become a bit of a problem. King's Key here, again, a little bit outdated. This one is still pretty good. The ability to cleanse yourself is never a bad thing, but we also have no shortage of Earthbender relics. The last event had an Earthbender relic in the form of the mural, and then Games of War is a fantastic Earthbender relic that you can get completely free to play in the summon shop. So, while King's Key is very good, it has no shortage of competition. And then Flying Wolfbat is highly situational. You actually have to make sure you're using a character that can mark the target. Not a whole lot of characters that can do that. There's Jiang, there's Prisoner Katara, but those are the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head. Which does leave Blade of Rebellion. This one is actually a little bit newer, if I am correct here. And consequently, it's also the only one that does have any real-world application right now, in my personal opinion. But it also does kind of rely on you being the last man standing, which doesn't always happen. Also, the practical use would be to stick this on probably the new Zuko. There's a couple characters, I believe Blue Spirit could use it if I'm not mistaken. But the new Zuko is the one that this definitely speaks to. Problem is, we have no shortage of free-to-play options for Peace Zuko. That does decrease the value of this just a little bit. Also, Swordmaster is a very specific one, which does limit who can use it. Because basically, you've got Peace Zuko.
Young Chen isn't here right now.
And then you have the Blue Spirit here. Those are the only 2 options that I can really even think of at the moment. Maybe there are others, but if I'm not thinking of them right now, then it's probably not worth your hard-earned nature stones. Now that is up to you. It is absolutely your choice. If you do look at it here, you do have a noteworthy 6.5% of getting some form of a 5-star just in normal summons. You do have, of course, the usual characters, the usual supports, and then each of the relics sitting at 1% apiece. But, like I said, I'm going to skip personally. We have a very good chance of some serious stuff coming in the near future. Keep in mind, it is inevitable that we will be getting raid bosses for guilds, and no doubt there will be characters released along with that, because of course, when you make a new boss, you gotta try and sell some characters that will be excellent against fighting that boss. So, just kind of something to keep in mind there. Don't forget that. I'm going to save, but it is totally up to you. And as far as your powerful opponent tickets go, this is not a bad banner. This one right here, the relics are good. Like I said, the blade is good on Kiwok. Pirate Man. Pirate Man. I cannot say his name. You're probably going to use Satchel Kiyoshi on him, which works excellently, by the way. But that is all we have for today. Some excellent stuff today. Got some freebies, got a ton of loot, and even a free 5-star character, which is nothing to sneeze at. So, that is all we have for today, but we shall see you next time. Have a good one.